What's up everybody, it's Madison, and we are here with another episode of nothing, because this is just a stupid random video. Yeah! So a couple weeks ago I made a post on Instagram of a I have never kind of questionnaire about who I am and things that I have or have never done. And I told you guys that the video would be done answering the questions relatively quickly, and that didn't happen. So here I am trying to get to those. Finally. Attractive face is attractive. So that being said, I am going to pull out my handy dandy phone and try and remember what those things were. Okay, so my first I have never was I have never been to Mexico. So those of you who voted true, it is actually true. I have never been to Mexico. I've heard great things. My parents, they vacationed in Cabo for their honeymoon, and I've had friends that have gone, but I've never gone. No Mexico for me. Wah, wah. I need to get my passport still, actually. Oops. Okay, so question number 2 was I have never done Runway. So 58% of you voted false, and you were correct. I actually have done Runway. When I first started out modeling, that was a really big thing for me. I actually did a couple of shows. I did a couple of shows for a swimwear designer that is called Elizabeth Jane, but at the time they were called Velour Couture. I did a runway show for DNAS, which is a really cool company run by my buddy Noel Austin, who's actually designed stuff for my friend Billy the Fridge, who was wearing one of his jackets, I think, in the last episode. I've actually done a lot of runway. I'm trying to think of all the different times, but I've actually done a lot of runway. I did a runway show at Macy's one time. I don't know, I've walked for lots of designers actually. I can't really remember all of their names. One of the coolest experience that I ever had is, if you guys know what the Seattle Art Museum is, there was a runway show in the Seattle Art Museum. I think it was during their Japanese fashion and art exhibit, which was really cool a couple of years ago. I actually got to walk for a designer who was really cool, and she was on Project Runway, I think it was, during the time that we were walking for her. And it was such an amazing experience. She was so good at what she did, and this dress was just beautiful on me, and my hair was all done up really high, and my makeup was really amazing, and I literally walked down this giant flight of stairs in the Seattle Art Museum for this show, and I remember thinking my heels were like so tall, and I was like, just don't fall, like don't slip and fall, don't slip and fall. And I didn't, and I was so proud of myself, and there's actually a couple of really cool photos of me, and I loved it. It's such a great experience. I actually am trying to get back into runway because I miss doing it so much, but I definitely have. I've done runway, and I did actually a lot of it, so now you know. The next question is I have never owned a bird, and you guys voted 57% false and 43% true. It is actually false. I have owned a bird. Her name was Annie, and she was so cool, and I loved her, and her first words were tweet tweet tweet, because my Mimi kept saying tweet 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 at her, and she said Annie girl and good girl and lots of fun stuff. She was really cool. And I remember on Halloween one year I tried to teach her to say trick or treat, but she just kept hearing tweet tweet tweet, so she just kept saying that. So that was when I realized that trick or treat and tweet 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 sound really similar. Okay, so the next question is I have never done a photo shoot outside of Washington State. You guys voted that pretty well. 26% of you voted true, and you are wrong. I have done shoots outside of Washington State. Not very many, but I've done a couple. Literally all of them have been in Portland. I didn't end up getting somebody to schedule with me when I was in Minneapolis, unfortunately, and every time I've gone to LA, it's been for fun instead of for work, which I like to change that this year. I plan on going down there for work way more, but every time I've gone in the past, it was just like family and hanging out and vacation and stuff. So But Portland, I have, and it is a whole nother state. Believe it or not, Seattle and Portland are not in the same state. Crazy, right? And for the next question, I have never tried hot yoga. I know this one was a tricky one and you guys couldn't quite decide on which one, but those of you that voted 44% true, you were right. I actually have never tried hot yoga. I've done yoga classes, I've also done Pilates classes, but I've never tried hot yoga. I've always wanted to, but I also never understood the ability to pay $80 to go sit in a room and do yoga. I just don't have a lot of money, okay? Somebody wants to pay for me to do hot yoga, I'll totally do it. But I don't have money for that. So this one came at a surprise for me. I didn't expect you guys to answer the way you did, so I'm a little nervous about the kind of person you guys think I am. But this question was, I have never tried anything except weed. 48% of you voted true, and 52% of you voted false. So believe it or not, the people who voted false are wrong. What? 52% of you guys truly think that I have done other things besides weed, and that... I'm a good kid, okay? Even though I have pretty lax judgment on people and what they choose to do in their downtime, I have never actually done anything except weed. Now, I don't know if some of you guys maybe thought I meant like alcohol. I've definitely had drinks before, but I meant drugs, and maybe I should have been more clear. But I've never done anything except for weed. Believe it or not, I didn't smoke weed until I was 19, and I probably would have gone even longer if it weren't for the fact that my ex-fiance did it. I enjoyed it. That was my first weed experience, and I've never done anything else. 52% of you, stop it. The next question was, I have never gone to college. This is actually the last question for today. 46% of you voted true, and 46% of you are wrong. I have gone to college. I actually graduated with a scholarship, believe it or not. I went to college for about a year, and I was a really good student when I was in high school, and I graduated with my senior year classes being pretty much all A's, some B's. But that being said, I did go to college for a year. I didn't really want to be there, so I didn't really try my best, and I failed my first class ever. And when I failed that class, it really kind of messed me up a little bit. I decided to take a year off, and I ended up never going back. I did go, so yeah. Well, thanks for joining me, guys. I'm glad you watched my video, and now you know a little bit more about me. Don't do drugs, stay in school.